Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to today's video in which I'm going to be teaching you guys how to write an essay. I know it's a complicated topic, and I know that you all are at different levels, at different stages. Some of you already know something about the writing process, some of you guys may not know that much, but I'm going to be trying my best and explaining everything as detailed as I can. The tips that I'm going to be giving you guys in today's video are my own tips that I came up with. They definitely work for me. Why is she even talking about this? Is she even qualified to talk about this? Absolutely no. I am not a teacher, I am not an educator, but I'm a student. I'm an English literature major. I'm a senior in college, and I wrote a lot of essays in my life, countless and countless. I don't even know how many essays I wrote. It's just crazy at this point. The method that I'm going to be showing you guys, it's my own method that I came up with. It's just like a little list of things that I do whenever I write essay, and this process that I'm going to be explaining to you guys in today's video is very simple. It's not complicated at all. I feel like if you follow every single step that I tell you guys, then you should be fine really, and your essay should turn out to be good. So if you're interested, please keep watching. If you guys want to see more videos from me in the future, I am doing college content, book related content. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future uploads from me. Turn on the little bell notifications so you know exactly when I upload. Follow me on social media. I am doing all sort of like short videos over on Instagram. And yeah, let's get into today's video. Okay, so the first step is pick a quote. Now, I am assuming that a lot of you guys, or most of you guys, are going to be given some of the sources for your essays, or you're going to have to find the sources yourself. I am not going to be talking about how to find the sources, just because it's a very complicated topic, and I myself sometimes have troubles finding the right sources, and I can like spend hours, and it's a very like long process sometimes. But when you're just starting out with your essay, do not spend that much time trying to find like right sources. Just pick the ones that you think are relevant to your topic. And so the first thing that we are gonna do, we're going to be copying and pasting some of the quotes from your sources into a blank Google Doc. The reason we're doing this is because, first of all, you have to break through that fear of the blank page. It's really, a lot of people experience that. I myself experienced that a lot. When you just like stare at a blank page and you can't figure out what to write about, how to write it. So we're gonna break that. We're just gonna copy and paste a quote or several quotes into that blank page. We also are doing that because sometimes it can be very hard to understand what you're gonna write about. Sometimes you might not have the idea right away. So by copying and pasting the quote from a relevant source, we are going to be putting some of the ideas in your brain. So when you see those quotes on the paper or on your screen, it's gonna be easier for you to understand what exactly you want to start off with. For example, if you are writing about, I don't know, like, for example, if you're writing something about like environment and you are trying to understand how the production of new technology will harm the environment or something like that. I really don't know why I said it, but if you're writing about that and you really don't know what side you're on, if you really don't know anything about the topic, you might find a few newspaper articles or like irrelevant chapters in some relevant books. And when you copy and paste the relevant information onto the blank page, you will automatically start thinking about the topic, and when you'll see those quotes on the paper or on your screen, you immediately are going to think about the issue that you're writing about, and you will come up with your own ideas. And it really is a helpful thing to do, and I do it all the time when I don't know what to write about. You definitely don't need to be like 100% sure on this stage of the process. You don't have to agree with all of the quotes. My advice for you is to just pick the quotes that make you feel a certain way, like when you skim the article and there's this like quote that really for some reason is stuck with you, just choose that quote. It might not be the most relevant, but it's definitely going to help you in the writing process. And my advice, just pick like anywhere between 3 to 5 or 6 quotes from each article. Just start with one and then gradually add the quotes. If you are copying and pasting quotes from different sources into one like Google document, make sure that you either like separate them, or what I like to do is to highlight them. There's this feature on Google Docs and like on Word that lets you highlight the text. So I do that because I don't want to get lost and I just want to know what source I used for each quote. So just copy and paste those quotes onto the paper and you will already have like 10% done, because I am assuming that you guys will have to use some of the sources in your essay, so the quotes already there for you. You might end up deleting some of the quotes, you might end up adding more. It's totally fine. That's how it's supposed to be. We are just starting out at this point. Step number 2. Now that you've got all of the potential quotes in one place, you are going to start writing around those quotes. And what I mean by that is just expand on the quote a little bit. Just show your opinion, what you think about this. Are you agree with this quote? Are you disagree? I used to have a habit of always like putting the quote and like explaining it and like always agreeing with everything that the author would say. But in one of my classes, I've learned that it's actually very efficient to disagree with the author. So here you have all the opportunities to show your opinion, to show us your own point of view on a specific thing, on the topic that you're writing about. And it has to be very, very easy for you to do. Do not complicate it for yourself. Take 10 to 15 minutes for each and every source. Just write a little bit, expand on every single quote just a little bit more. Show your opinion, show your point of view, because your point of view is very unique. You might know some of the examples from the real life that might add relevance to what you're writing about. So be creative here. Do not be scared that what you're writing is bad, because it's really not that bad. Eventually, if you don't like it, you can just delete everything that you wrote and start again. No one will look at what you are writing right now. You don't have to show that to anyone. It's just to get you started. And honestly, a lot of the times I end up actually using that, like what I wrote around each quote, I end up using that material in my final draft of the essay. So it shouldn't be that serious, because you have to remember that you can always come back later and edit it, add something, delete something. Just don't be hard on yourself on this stage of writing essay. Step number 3. This step, I like to call it sewing, just because I think that here sewing is really similar to writing, because what we have now at this point is just like those little paragraphs with like a quote, like the main, I don't know, like a topic sentence being a quote, and we have like a little paragraph of us explaining what we think about this quote and what we think is relevant. So we have all of these little pieces, but they aren't really attached to each other necessarily. And the exact same thing happens when you like cut out the pieces of fabric when you're sewing, and separately they don't really have much of a use. You can't really like wear a separate piece of fabric for the sleeve, for example. You have to have like the whole t-shirt to wear it. This step is going to help us to put those pieces together, join them together, so our whole essay looks more coherent and it actually looks like one piece rather than just all of these random paragraphs that we wrote, but they're just not really joined together. So what we're doing at this step 3 is we are trying to join them together. Okay, we are trying to make a coherent piece of writing here. Just think about the places where the paragraphs that you wrote with the quotes, where they are similar, where you can join them together. You might add some of the information here, you might add maybe more quotes if you want, but basically if someone who didn't know absolutely anything about the topic that you are writing about, make sure that when you join those paragraphs together, that person would actually be like, oh, I actually see what you mean, I actually understand a little bit. So all you need at this point is to just make sure that your writing becomes a little bit more coherent, smoother. I remember last semester I was assigned to write a 10-page essay, and I chose to write about the dangers of the internet and how badly the internet and social media use affected us. And because it was like 10 pages, it was long, I had like a separate little subtopics, but they all shared the common topic, where I would talk about how internet was bad for us. For example, I had a little paragraph written about how our brain is influenced by all of the constant scrolling. I had another paragraph how our self-perception is changed when we are constantly, using social media and comparing ourselves with different people. As you can see, those topics, they aren't really sharing that much common, but they all are a part of this umbrella term why the internet is bad for us. So I try to connect those paragraphs, I try to make a smooth transition. Just make sure that your essay is coherent, is consistent, and I'm assuming that you guys will use this step for your rough draft, right? Like the first draft or whatever you want to call it. I hope that you guys will revise your essay, and from that rough draft you will produce a bowl-shaped another draft. But basically what we're doing is just joining those paragraphs together, so we have the whole essay that you can just submit to your professor as a rough draft. And the final step number 4, is to go over your entire essay and revise it. I know that it sounds very boring to revise something, especially when you spend so much time already, but revising is the final step that can really make or break your essay. What you have now, if you followed all of the steps that I mentioned in this video, is supposed to be a well-shaped rough draft of your essay. So it's really just all of your thoughts, all of the quotes that you would like to use, they all are collected in this one space. And what you have to do now is just to read through every single paragraph very carefully and think, what is it that I might add, what is it that maybe I should delete because it's not really that relevant to my essay, what is it that I might replace it with. So you see what I mean? It's really depends on you how you want your essay to look like. There's no one who can really tell you how it's supposed to look like. You just kind of go with your gut feeling. And one of the things that I would recommend you to do is try to show your essay at this stage to someone who is not really familiar with the topic. So it can be just your mom, your friend, even if you give it to your professor, some of the professors, if they read your rough draft, they might give you a good feedback. The reason it might be helpful for you to do is because those people, they probably don't know anything about the topic. They haven't spent as much time trying to find all of those articles, all of those sources like you have. So their view on that topic is very fresh and it's much different than yours. So don't be afraid to ask them to read through and give you a little feedback. It's not gonna hurt. I now am realizing that I really haven't touched upon writing an introduction and the conclusion. So I actually myself, I do not start my essays with an introduction just because I feel like it's not really gonna be that much helpful, especially if you don't know what side you're on, because in introduction you have to know a little bit about what you're writing about. But if you don't even have a fully developed idea of what you want to write about, how are you gonna write an introduction? So I usually just start with random paragraph and then I add more and more, and then once I'm done with it, I just add the introduction where I just give a little tiny summary of what my essay is going to be about, because I already know what it's gonna be about. I have already written it. So conclusion is kind of the same thing as a introduction. The only difference is you might want to like reflect on what you just wrote a little deeper. I personally do not start with the introduction, but if you guys feel like this is going to be helpful, then just go ahead. It's your method. So yeah, I think that I just told you guys everything that I personally knew about writing essays. This is my own like method. I use this like a cheat sheet to write all of my essays at this point. When I'm given like an essay and it's due like a week, I just know that first thing that I'm gonna do is just like look for some sources, just copy and paste few quotes and just like start writing about it. It's really, this method really made my life much easier as a student, because I don't really have this panic mode when I'm given an essay and I know that, oh my gosh, like I have to write something but I don't know what and how I'm gonna do this. Like I don't really have that panic mode anymore, because I know every single step that I'm going to be making to write a good essay. I really hope that this video was helpful to you. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I am not an expert. I'm just sharing my thoughts, my process with you guys, and if some of you guys will find it helpful, then I'm gonna be so happy that I helped even one person. I just really hope that those of you who are stuck, who always have this like writer's block, who have fear of the blank page, I hope that this method will help you and will make the process of writing essays less boring and more fun. Don't forget to comment, leave a comment, like do you agree, do you disagree? Let's have a conversation, little chat in the comments. Yeah, if you guys want to see more videos from me in the future, make sure that you subscribe, and I really hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care of yourself. I hope to see you very soon in my next video. Bye.